Here's a theory for you all to consider. The Eagle Union, Royal Navy, Sakura Empire and the Iron Blood have all co-opted command from their human creators and are now acting autonomously. And now, Sakura Empire and Iron Blood have started a war that the rest of humanity doesn't actually want. And all because Akagi-senpai is a siscon. Yep, this is what happens when a siscon loses their beloved sister. They become yandere as fuck! So if you hadn't already guessed, I watched the Azur Lane anime. Finally, I guess. I mean, all 10 episodes that are available, and we have like 2 months almost until the next episode comes along because of production issues and the like, and I could really quite see that, obviously, quite a few times. I'll be honest, I dare not use any more footage because the last time I tried to upload anime footage onto my channel, the entire video got blocked and no one ever saw it. And yet, somehow, there's loads of channels that upload various clips, sometimes up to half an hour of clips, and they don't get blocked or banned or anything, and that really frustrates me. I'm also a little ill at the time of making this, so apologies if I don't really sound very enthusiastic or really quite emotive, or just human in general. I'm also not going to let this video turn into a sort of Kankol vs Azur Lane Kantai collection bashing thingy-majig. No, this is not going to happen. I love both franchises, it's just I've never really played Azur Lane, so maybe I'm not understanding the anime fully, but in my interests, I really preferred the Kankol anime to the Azur Lane one. Mainly because Azur Lane seemed to be stretching quite a few things that I could believe, I guess. I mean, okay, look, they're anthropomorphized warships in both series, okay? I get that. But Azur Lane was just pushing things a bit too much for me. I mean, it is very clear that in Azur Lane, airships are not a thing. At least there's no airship girls. So why then are Akagi, Kaga, and Prince Eugen capable of flight? Akagi, Kaga, you're not Akron and Macon. You are Akagi and Kaga. You are naval, waterbound warships. Not airships! Why are you flying? Okay, maybe it's the siren technology that they've taken that's making them fly, but then that would mean Unicorn and Enterprise are also guilty of using siren technology. Like, what the fuck is going on? They are warships, not airships. Big difference. Another thing that could just be misunderstanding how the game itself works, but I don't think the people who made this anime truly understand the combat role of an aircraft carrier. In the Azur Lane anime, we see Enterprise and Zukaku, 2 fleet carriers going toe-to-toe with one another, like literally going freaking hand-to-hand combat. But I think you have to understand that a carrier, the carrier vessel itself is actually pretty weak. The carrier's main combat power is in its air wing. You take that away, the carrier is little more than a sitting duck. Sure, some of them had armor, the illustrious class carriers. Some of them had big guns, the Lexington class before they were refit, and Akagi and Kaga themselves. Both of these had 8-inch guns. but they were of limited usefulness. The Lexington class put their 8-inch guns into turrets both fore and aft of the bridge island and the smokestack, but they were of limited usefulness because they could only realistically fire out to starboard. If they fired to port over the flight deck, the blast wave of the guns when they fired would rip up the deck and destroy it. That's why they were eventually refit to have those 8-inch guns removed and replaced with the ubiquitous Mark 38 twin 5-inch mount. Akagi and Kaga, I suppose, had it a bit better. Their 8-inch guns were in barbettes mounted on the side, but in the end they were still of limited usefulness. The most these guns would have ever really been used for was in ground support. The chances of them ever being used against other warships was minuscule because a carrier would have always been surrounded by a destroyer screen. And let's not forget that just because the Illustrious class was armoured doesn't mean they all were. Sure, Taiho, the Illustrious class, Shinano, they were all very well armoured, but not all the others. The Essex class was quite susceptible to bursting into flames whenever it got hit by a kamikaze. Look at the USS Franklin. And the 4 Japanese carriers that got sunk at Midway all had wooden decks, which is why they, well, burst into flames. So having Enterprise going toe-to-toe with Zukaku, Kaga, and Akagi, and various other vessels, it makes no sense, because realistically, she should not be capable of that. She should be hanging back at a distance, launching planes. Kantai Collection did it quite well. They exemplified the inherent vulnerability of a carrier. Fubuki wanted to be the escort of Akagi. Akagi herself wanted Fubuki as her escort. When Akagi and Kaga found themselves in a dangerous position, they didn't stand much of a chance and were very nearly destroyed. Or, I suppose, killed. They couldn't just muscle their way out of it because they had powerful stats. They couldn't pull an Enterprise because, well, that's not how carriers work. If you still doubt me, go play World of Warships, take a carrier, and then drive it straight into the enemy, and tell me how well you fare. And if you somehow manage to completely destroy an enemy battleship from full health, then I will literally take the model battleship I have on my desk and deep-throat it. Now we look at episode 6, and as much as I'd love to bash that evil steam, this isn't about the evil steam. Rather, it's the concept of the bathhouse. Now, this is, I suppose, a bit nitpicky. I mean, it's a real, like, one of the downtime episodes. I almost said it downer. Wrong word. I appreciate the sentiment of the episode, but in all honesty, it doesn't really depict American and British culture all that well. You see, a bathhouse like that is a very Japanese thing. The Japanese have a long history of this hot spring culture, I guess, because they have very active hot springs in quite a lot of their country. And as such, the way I understand it is that, well, modesty in a public bathhouse like that is not particularly a thing. They don't really cover themselves up. They just go about their business and no one really bats an eye. But that sort of thing here in the UK, and I'm pretty sure in the US as well, it is very uncommon. I'm sure bathhouses like that exist, and I know that there are old Roman baths in, well, Bath, but I'm pretty sure that's the last time public bathing like that was popular in England back in the Roman times. Such a thing nowadays would more than likely be like a jacuzzi at a swimming pool, a leisure centre. It would be more than likely filled with people wearing swimsuits. So this whole Japanese bathhouse thing being used by American and British kansen, it doesn't really reflect the culture of the UK and the US very well, because that's a very Japanese thing. I might be wrong, I mean, I'm not particularly the most cultured person out there, I mean, I am watching anime after all, but in my experience, that's how things are, and now this is a really kind of embarrassing subject, so I'm gonna move on from it and try and focus on something else. The whole Enterprise Ice Queen thing, I guess, makes sense, with her whole Ron Perlman war never changes thing. We're talking about the one aircraft carrier, the one American aircraft carrier that served from the very beginning to the very end of the war. Well, forgetting Ranger, of course. She saw the most battles, the most death and destruction. Obviously, I think Enterprise would more than likely be a bit resentful, maybe, if she did come back as a person. So I get the whole attitude of why she's like that, but the one thing that really confuses me about her is everything that starts happening to her in episode 7, and after that, like, her eyes go yellow, so she sort of become a siren version of herself, and then she shoots Akagi and puts her into a coma or something, and then immediately becomes, oh my god, what have I done? Goes back to normal Enterprise, then more or less immediately goes back to being Siren Enterprise, almost kills Zikaku and Shokaku, and then goes back to being normal Enterprise, and I'm just really confused about what the fuck is happening to her. Like, I don't know what the fuck is happening. What the fuck is happening? What the fuck? I've made my point. The fact that she sort of becomes an evil version of herself whilst still being the good version of herself, I don't understand. It makes no sense. And the last thing I want to talk about really is actually what I mentioned right at the very beginning, the whole theory that the ship girls, the Kansen of the Sakura Empire and the Iron Blood, have co-opted command from their human creators. I mean, we never see any humans in the show. That's why they're not using their actual national names. That's why Eagle Union isn't United States, why Royal Navy isn't United Kingdom, and Sakura Empire isn't Japan, and Ironblood isn't Germany. They don't represent their nations anymore. They've become their own autonomous entities that are doing things their own way, and humanity no longer has a say in it all. That's how Akagi was able to make a deal with the Sirens and create the Red Axis, because she is not controlled by the humans anymore. She's in her own element, her own entity. She is more or less the head of the Sakura Empire, and Sakura Empire is Japan, if you understand what I'm getting at here. They don't represent their home nations anymore, and they've ruined everything. Humankind is doomed to be destroyed by their very own creations, because their creations got a bit too autonomous, I guess. And that's more or less everything I can think of. I've probably forgotten a few things. I mean, my brain's like that. I have to think about every single word I say. It's always difficult to make a video like this, so hopefully I've made some sense. I think I have, and I don't know if I'll ever make anything like this again. Maybe one day, probably when Kantai Collection Season 2 comes along, which is something I'm kind of worried about, actually. I guess I'll add that on here, because Kantai Collection Season 2 is coming, but it's being made by a different studio, and that kind of worries me, because Season 1 from 2015 was made by Diamedia, and Season 2 is being made by Studio NB, I think it was? Different studio, and I'm really not sure what it's gonna be like. That being said, I still am looking forward to it because it's going to be more or less the competition, in the anime stage at least, that Kantai Collection is offering to Azur Lane, more than likely as a response to the Azur Lane anime coming out. And hopefully it's going to be more polished than the Azur Lane anime. I mean, come on, they had to delay episodes 11 and 12 by 3 months because of production issues and quality issues. You can see that many times. I could swear that mug was floating. Sorry, so yeah, that's where it is. Maybe that I'll make a follow-up to this when 11 and 12 come out in March. Until then, I'll catch you in the next one. Have a good one, folks, and good night.